Hi, Ross Shafer here with another throwback interview. Now, the reason that I like to do these is because even though these interviews took place many years ago, the lessons are still relevant today. And today's interview is with talk show host Phil Donahue. You may not know who he is if you're of a certain age, but Phil had this afternoon talk show that was extremely popular, not only in the United States, but in Europe. And he would take one topic and then introduce a guest or many guests to flesh out this saucy topic. And Phil came along before Oprah, before Sally Jesse Raphael, before Geraldo or Montel. And he didn't start out in Hollywood or New York, which is what many of us in television were told, oh, the only way you can be successful is you go to the big cities. Phil proved that wrong. Phil started out in Dayton, Ohio, little Dayton, Ohio. And then 4 or 5 years later, he expanded to other Dayton, Ohio type cities throughout Ohio. It wasn't until he was into the show 10 years that he went to Chicago. And from that, New York City. So the lesson is you don't have to pick up everything and go to the big metropolitan area to be successful. Many people in software or technology think they have to be in Silicon Valley. Not true. Get really good wherever you live, and you'll find your way to the next level. Okay, here's my interview with Phil Donahue.
Welcome back to the show. I think you've probably seen my next guest. He's had a little television show for the last 20 years, 5 days a week. His main claim to fame, however, is that he's oft confused for Merv Griffin. Please welcome Phil Donahue. How are you, Phil?
We lost.
Oh, you lost?
Where's your Seattle hat?
I have a Mariners hat, but I don't. I didn't bring it tonight.
Phil just came from a ball game, and you lost the game.
We did lose the game, mostly because I made most of the mistakes.
Oh no!
No, it's a very good team.
Oh yeah.
And,
You played on the King team.
I did. We play in the Rat League.
Mm-hmm. Did you get up to bat?
I did get up to bat.
How'd you do?
Actually, not too badly. Been better if somebody else told you, though.
How did he do?
Home run.
He hit a home run?
I did.
Well. Oh, Phil, I wish we had some kind of a prize or a trophy or.
Oh, I don't have any more room in my trophy room.
Oh, haven't you? Well, maybe we can get you some crackers or licorice. Well, how are you? Welcome to Seattle.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you been having a nice time?
Well, certainly have. We've had great audiences, and it is true. Somebody at the airport said, "Hey, Merv."
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm carrying my ego under my arm, and walking around and having it is a nice place to come. It always has been for us. These audiences have always been great. I can't get to them fast enough, and it's a big trip for us to come here.
Good. Now we got to clear something up. You're going to leave Seattle. And people, the only thing they're going to remember about Phil Donahue is that they read in the Seattle Times that he likes to sit at home or alone in his hotel room with a six-pack of Rainier.
Well,
Do you remember? Did you see that in the paper?
I did say that. No, people knock me over and then say, "Where's Marlo?" And it's just very difficult for me. As you know, I have an enormous ego, and I usually stand there whistling my theme song, hoping somebody will. And they want to know if she's here, which she isn't. She's working. As you know, we have to eat. And so I said, I'm sitting in my hotel room looking out over the Sound, drinking a six-pack of Rainier beer. And it gets a laugh and, of course, winds up in the newspaper. And
That's right. And
I get free Rainier for the rest of the week.
Yeah, you mentioned Marlo. Danny Thomas is your dad, and or your father-in-law. Does he ever, at family gatherings, does he ever play Uncle Tanous just for a little while?
No, but we do have a lot. He's got a lot of old war stories, and he is as you know, he's 75 now and in great health and still working and raising a lot of money for St. Jude Hospital. And he's also the place where all the comics come. And so I have this really wonderful, rare experience of sitting there at the table with George Burns, Hilton Burrow, Bob Newhart comes over, Buddy Hackett, and it is something to watch these men. And they play to each other, they applaud each other, they laugh at all the material. It's a very unusual opportunity for me, and I had never really appreciated comedy until I married into this family. It is the most terrifying thing you can possibly do in your life. I mean, all these guys came up from the street, and they know what it's like to play small rooms, play to empty tables, and they all hit it. They're, I think, comedy history, most of these people, and I feel very privileged to be see them up close like this.
Well, now, you're a major personality. I'm sure when they're sitting around the table holding court, and they ever say, well, Phil? They look to you, don't they look to you for stories, too? Is it,
well, as a matter of fact, I have been known to be arrogant enough after a couple of Rainier beers to tell a couple of stories myself. But I'm always glad when they're over, and by the time I get to the punchline, my tongue is sticking to the roof of my mouth. But they laugh whether they think it's funny or not. They're very generous people.
They're real supportive. And of course, you're the youngest. And how old were you when your hair went gray?
Probably... This is a long way to come to be insulted to me. About late 20s. Late 20s.
And did you ever say, oh, I'm in show business, I better put the
Never
grease?
bothered me. I mean, I'm as vain as anybody else. I'm not claiming any protection from that, from ego. But it never bothered me. Maybe it should have, but it never did.
No, I don't think it should.
No. Some guy introduced me as a 6-foot Q-tip once.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. Well, who are your friends, Phil? When you have some free time, when you're not on the road, who do you hang out with?
Well, we have a pack of folks we run with in New York, including people in theater. Marlo was on Broadway all last summer, which got me into the Broadway Show League, which is why I'm out here trying to show off and act my age. I swung at one pitch tonight. I missed it, and I think I hurt myself. But mostly, I would say Broadway people and also movie people, since Marlo's very well connected to that crowd. I hate to mention, I don't want to, these are pals, and I don't want to come to Seattle, because then, then...
Just one.
I'll tell you, listen.
Just one, your best friend.
All right, it's not my best friend, but I have actually met Warren Beatty.
Oh.
He's very short.
I know you have to go, but I wanted to thank you very much for being here.
Well, I thank you for the invite.
Phil Donahue.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.